Yo, what's up, my people? So, today I have got for you an introduction to one of my group coaching sessions with a bunch of fucking soldiers that are absolutely crushing it. Some of them are making 10, 15, $20,000 every single month, some even more. So what I'm going to share with you today is an exact insight into what it looks like to be part of the cash collectors, the cash collection IO assassins. So yeah, enjoy and take notes, grab your pen and paper. This is going to be absolutely sick. So yeah, boys, basically Q&A session today. I got some cool stuff that I'd like to run over with you anyway. But who wants to start off with the questions then?
How the fuck do you challenge passion? Because I remember you telling me it's a limiting belief, passion. It was like,
Well,
really, like, my why at the end of the day is just to really find my passion. And I was like, okay, if you're making 20K a month selling fucking drugs, would that be your passion? No.
well,
Anyway, it's about
obviously, yeah.
I didn't do that.
Did you actually say that on the call? No.
No,
Okay,
but
cool.
I said, do you think the guy that owns a nuclear power plant that makes 20 million a month cares about his passion? Like, no.
We have to understand, right, is core human fulfillment comes from like self-satisfaction, basically. Passion is just a lie that people tell themselves to delay things. It's like a procrastination thing, right? It's like, how do you find what you're passionate at? If somebody said, I just want to find what I'm passionate about, it's like, how are you going to do that?
Probably try everything under the sun.
Okay, but like, who gets better results? Somebody who tries or somebody who commits, i.e. somebody who tries to lose weight or somebody who gets in the gym and fucking loses the weight?
Someone who commits.
Okay, so at the end of the day, is it about finding what you're passionate about, or is it down to committing something to get so good at it that you become passionate around it?
Fuck me. Damn. Fair. Yeah, good shit.
Because like, so the actual like reframe I used to use, if you like, is like, well, at the end of the day, like, what in life are you passionate about that you're bad at? And if I got a good relationship with the guy on the call, I'd be like, probably talking to girls, right? But like, aside from that, like, what are you passionate about that you're like bad at? That would be a good one for you to use, Isaac, to be fair. Yeah. And then it's like, well, yeah, you probably don't like anything in life that you're bad at, right? You only like things in life that you're good at. Fair to say? Yeah, okay. Well, how do you get good at things? You first have to be bad at them, right? So what they're actually avoiding is not they're not finding passion, they're just avoiding being bad at something, basically.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes fuck tons of sense, yeah.
Yeah. You get that a lot in like B2C. For the B2B boys, you probably won't find like, I'm just trying to find my passion. Sick. That's actually a very good question though, Joe. Has anyone else got anything similar, like questions on like different types of reframes or behaviors or anything like that at all?
Yeah. The guy yesterday that I closed, he was like, I just want to find my why. And he was using this like, I want to find my why before I commit to the program.
Yeah, I actually got this. I got this a couple of days ago. I didn't actually close it, but I have closed shit like that before. It's like, I want to find my why before I join the program. It's like, okay, the way that you reframe that is like, it's kind of like people waiting for a certain amount of something before they join. You'll get this with every offer, whether you're like hashtag a growth operator or whether you're fucking Isaac dating coach or whether you're closers like the rest of you boys on here. It's like, I just want to wait until I have enough money to do this. I just want to wait until I have X to be able to do Y. Like, we've all actually been that guy. At least I know I have before. Like, I've been that guy. It's like, I want to wait till I have this to be able to do this. But like the belief that you need to hold as the salesperson on the call is like, well, what if actually doing it gave you X? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the belief that I hold. It's like, cool, I didn't have clarity on how to start a business, but I just started the fucking business and I found out how to do it. And like, I actually know through fucking experience and action, like, that's what brings the better results. It's not waiting to get X to do Y, it's doing X to get Y, basically.
Okay, but how would you reframe it so that you're not telling them that that's what it is? How would you reframe it so that they realize themselves that, like, that's what they kind of have to do? Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Well, how are you gonna do that? Like, someone role play with me. Okay, cool. You can role play with me. Like, you don't know how you're gonna do that?
Yeah, honestly, like, I haven't really found it before.
Sure.
That's kind of part of why I'm here.
I mean, being here is one thing, right? Like, being here isn't really enough though, because like, if you haven't found it, would it be fair to say that your result that you've got today is a combination of your decisions and your actions and your mindset?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. If you continue to make this, are you 100% happy with the results that you have at the moment in your life in terms of dating, business, everything?
Fuck
No? Okay. Why not?
Well, because I still can't approach girls consistently. Like, I did it 3 times last month, but I wanted to do it more, and it was just the fear of rejection kept getting me.
Sure. And so, like, if you continue to make actions, if you continue to take actions and make decisions based off the same mental model that's got you to where you are today, where you still don't know your why? Does it make sense for you to continue making decisions that are leading you to a result that you're unhappy with?
No, definitely not. I mean, that's like why I'm trying to find my why. I feel like that will like help me get over the fear.
Well, do you find are you magically going to wake up one day and think, fuck, I've got my why? Or do you find, because there's two types of people, right? You can be the type of guy, this is how I would do it. This is where I was leading to. Fuck, okay. So like, there's two types of people, and this is like the identity pitching that we were on about last week, right? Like, or not last week, Monday, sorry. Whereas like, okay, the two types of people that you can be is the type of person who waits to find his why to take action and then feels like he's in this like spiritual zen mode where everything is attracted to him and like he goes through this whole abundance phase. Or you can be the type of guy who takes fucking action and through his action, through fighting through the uncertainty, finds this fucking why. Which one do you feel is more successful? Get a bit of buy-in. He's obviously going to say the one person that I've just made out who's like going through the fucking trenches. And do you see how I'm pitching it subtly though? Of like the one guy who goes through the trenches, puts in the hard work to get the result. Obviously, it's that guy. So then when I get the buy-in of like, okay, who's going to be more successful? He's then going to tell me, okay, cool, it's this guy. So I'm like, well, who do you want to be then? The type of guy who's more successful or the type of guy who's less successful?
Yeah, legit.
Right? Type of guy who's more successful. Then it's like, well, does it make sense for you to continue to try and find your why before you take action then, or does it make more sense for you to actually take the action to find your why?
Yeah.
And then he's really going to say, take the action. And then it's like, because you put like a lot of pressure on, then you have to kind of take away a little bit and be like, because you don't have to, right? Like, you don't have to do that. You can continue to fantasize and dream about what your why might possibly be. But at the end of the day, like, I wanted to say, like, does it even matter? But I don't know if, like, obviously you boys would respond well to that because, like, you're fucking hardcore, like, motherfuckers. But, like, little, like, pussies might be like, yeah, of course it matters to find my why. But, like, it genuinely doesn't really matter. Like, because all that matters is, do you want to have success? Yes. Well, fuck the why then. Like, the why only matters along the way when you have, like, struggles and shit like that. Because then you remember that to get through it, you know? Because you would have already found the why in the discovery, basically. So if he's saying that at the end, I'd be like, well, you have to bring it back up, right? Like the reason.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that, but that's huge. I can just remind him like, well, remind me, bro. Like, why did you want to get better with girls in the first place? And then he'll say all these things. It's like, well, what would your life be like if you don't do it? Like all these things. Like, bro, what does that sound like? That sounds a lot like why to me.
Yeah, sure. Like, how much more of a why do you need?
Yeah.
And then it's like you can pitch your identity, right? Of like, cool, like this is why discovery is so important. It's not just like discovery, cool, that's done, throw it as far as you can away and never think about it again. Like, it's genuinely there for like data and fucking ammunition to spray at them if they start giving you objections, basically, right? So yeah, that's basically
that's what I was going to ask them, because if you get that objection, isn't that not really the root of the objection? Would you not then say that's not an actual objection?
As in, like, it's just an error in discovery.
Well, it's like a smokescreen to the real objection. Would you not say?
Yeah, sure. Well,
what would be the root of something like that, though?
Just a mask of like, well, I would just say it's down to like a lack of belief. Like, my brain tries to put these things out pretty quick, but like where my mind is at now with that would be like, he feels that he needs something extra to be able to get the result that he wants, but without that extra, he's not going to be able to get the result. But the extra that he's looking for doesn't even exist. He's just looking to put a barrier in the way of him being able to achieve something that he wants to achieve, basically.
You're going to tell him that, though, because that's harsh to say to someone.
Through a series of questions where it's like, okay, well, if you could literally just say, like, if you had the belief in yourself that you'd get the result, what would you do?
I'd do it.
Okay. Why?
Because I believe that I can do it.
Okay. So that means that the only thing stopping you is what?
Me believing that I can do it.
Okay. So is it down to the fact that you don't really, like, you need like more of a why, or is it more down to the fact that you feel that you don't really believe in yourself as much as you need to? Because either one is fine, by the way. Like, I don't mind which one it is.
Yes, my lack of belief.
Okay. And does belief appear out of the sky one day and wake up and you think, fucking yeah, today I'm gonna get it? Or does belief come from action?
Action.
Okay. So what actions do you need to take to be able to actually start believing in yourself? Be the man that you can be. Ned, put yourself on mute, G, please.
I need to start just telling myself that I actually do believe in it and put my kind of words where my mouth is. Or no, like put my words where like I actually just need to do it. That's basically it.
Okay, and then I'll start to future pace you getting through this idea, right? Of like, because you need to like give them a reason to get through the objection, basically. It's like you need to give them like okay, cool, like this is why I actually need to get through the objection. So you put the objection as the hurdle that they overcome in the future pace, basically. If you're in objection handling, or even if you're in discovery, and they give you that objection, like what stopped you, whatever has stopped them is the objection that they give at the end of the call, basically. I know I've ran over this like pretty much every week, but like to emphasize on it, like that's the most important part of the call. But what stopped you, like that's what's going to draw out the external. Oh, sorry, the objection, which is either going to bring the external, so you can kind of assess their lack of ownership or their ability to take ownership would probably be a better way to put it, or you can assess like how willing they are to actually, because if they're like, bro, like this fucking crazy shit happened and like I just didn't do as much as I needed to, and like I didn't do that because I was fucking scared to take action, then it's like you don't need to be like, well, why were you scared? What internally was causing you to be scared? Because you already got the fear. Like you've got the fucking objection. Some people will be super open about it. So like don't feel that you need to like get fear of failure every time. You just need to get what they're scared of. Like that's their belief. You need to assess what belief is stopping them and then help them remove that, or at least have a different perception on it. I was up until like 3:30 last night, right? I think you might have seen in the fucking chat. But I put this quote in there that I was listening to a Bob Proctor podcast, or like a Bob Proctor thing. I can't remember what it was. But basically he said when you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. So your whole thing on the call is to be able to like help them change their perception on fear, on what they're scared of, on their own limitations. Once you're able to help them change their perception on that, that's when you can really start to move the needle and close the deal, basically. So this is why I'm so fucking hell bent on the fact B2B, B2C, like none of that shit matters, because when you understand language and you understand perceptions and you understand how you need to close the deal, you can assess whether their language serves them closing the deal.
I think I just got, sorry I was late, Jack. I literally came off the sales call. But I think I did exactly what you're speaking about there. I was asking him, so he had lack of confidence. And then I was almost asking him too many questions on confidence, like, because he was so hard. He was like one of those I don't know guys. I had to get over that multiple times till we finally got over that. But then I was asking him so many questions on confidence that it almost, between the both of us, it felt like we should be suspicious of fucking confidence itself.
Yeah,
which was just weird. I've not got to that situation before, but it was just not nice to be in.
yeah, you should be suspicious of confidence, because what's going to bring, how do you build confidence?
By taking action.
Yeah. So is it down to the fact that he doesn't have confidence then?
No, it's down to the fact that he's not taking action.
Okay. So what's stopping him from taking action? And don't tell me confidence, please. Whatever you do.
Is the motivation.
Well, if the motivation's strong enough, then like he should take action. The motivation behind, or the reason as to why he's not taking action, and like that's what you need to get out the call to make it less awkward. It's like what's then causing him to hesitate on taking action? Because it always just comes down to like action. Are you paying attention, motherfucker?
Yeah, I'm thinking, bro. Fucking
Alright.
hell, man.
Well, you were caught in conversation. I'm not gonna
That was a deep thought, G. You
Alright.
paid attention to it. I was thinking, okay, yeah, but then I'm thinking, what's stopping me taking action? I've gone down to knowledge. That's what, motivation, and then it's, I didn't get that. What the fuck, man? I must sound so bad, man. It felt awful.
You know.
But I've had some sick calls, man, that I've been doing really well. I've got some really good piffs and stuff, and put a lot of wins in the chat in a second. Soon.
Yeah. Oh well, you've been quiet, bro. I actually thought that you just shut down the business and went back to a 9 to 5 or something, because I haven't spoken to you for a week.
Closed my largest piff, and then closed multiple other piffs as well.
How much you up for the month? Or
I'm actually having to set the business up because of tax reasons in the UK. I'm going to end up paying it all to tax.
Nah, I can set you up at 0%. G. I got a guy. Does anybody else have any other questions actually before I start doing this, or like anything else that they'd like to run through?
I've got a question.
I've got.
Go on, we'll go Hashim then Isaac.
Right, so I had a call today. She couldn't afford until she wanted to consult with her husband, since the husband's the one that makes the decisions. So I tried to get her to like put a deposit, and I framed it as an emotional commitment. But the thing is, she was uncomfortable. So
Sure.
like, yeah, I was trying to, when she said she was uncomfortable, I didn't know how to like go through with that, you know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's natural. Did you feel comfortable when you invested into this training?
No, no, no.
No. Did anyone? Probably not, right? Like, because it's like a big investment. Everyone's scared, and like they're like, that's normal, bro. But the way that you would reframe that is like, well, did you come here to be comfortable?
Okay.
You know, but you have to say it as if like you're kind of like a coach in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like, because especially if it's a woman, like, and I don't want to sound like sexist or anything, but like, especially if it's a woman, because men, you can give like the whole fucking like alpha male bravo fucking like, yo motherfucker, like you're a fucking man, like don't be a bitch basically. But with a woman, obviously, you got to be a little bit more like finesse, basically. You know what I mean? Be like, did you actually come here to be comfortable though, Lisa? Or would it be fair to say that in order to start a business, you're going to need to get uncomfortable somewhere? Yeah, because I get it. Like, it's meant to be scary, by the way. What does your husband do for work? She's going to say, like, let's say he's a sales manager. Okay, cool. Let's say he has a problem with one of his sales reps. They're not performing. Their data, their KPIs are fucking through the floor. They haven't closed the deal in 2 weeks. And your husband is stressing because he knows how to deal with it, but that sales rep isn't listening. Is he going to come to you and ask you to solve this problem that he's got at work? Or is he going to take the responsibility and solve that himself? He's going to solve that himself, isn't he? Because he's the fucking man, especially if he's the breadwinner and he makes the decisions. Like, he's definitely not going to come to her and ask her for the decision, is he?
Mhm.
Then it's like, well, at the end of the day, as long as her motivation really was for like her, and you got it like fucking bang on her, and like you like really got the spotlight on her and she was feeling good, then it's like, well, at the end of the day though, like, whose responsibility is it, Lisa, to achieve XYZ motivation, XYZ amount of money? It's mine. Okay, cool. Well, if it's yours, does it make sense for you to go to Mark and ask Mark to make a decision that is ultimately based around you then? Because if he did come to you and ask you to help him with his sales team, what would be the result of that? Yeah, the sales team would fall apart. Why is that? Because it's not my job. Okay, so if you ask Mark to then influence a decision that is ultimately based around you, is that actually going to serve you in the outcome that you want, in the independence that you're looking for? Because I imagine, based off that she wants to start a business so her husband doesn't have to make all the decisions, so that she has the freedom in her life and that sort of thing. Obviously, I don't know, I wasn't on the call, but like, just based off that small bit of information, I imagine that's probably somewhat of a motivation somewhere along the line, right? Yeah. And so it's like, especially if that's the motivation, bro, you can fucking just drill down the responsibility and like really start to empower her and be like, well, what would Lisa 2.0 do here and now? The one who's making 10K a month, if she was sat in the room with us and she was like, come on, girl, like, you got this, would she tell you to take one step forward and emotionally commit to herself? Or would she tell you to take one step back and continue to operate and let Mark influence decisions around her?
Okay, cool.
You feel like that would have helped on that call if you had it, if like you use that?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Do you feel like that could go any other way based on the type of person that she was?
Not really. I think that way was good. Um,
Cool.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's all good. What you have to understand as well, boys, is that like, men want to build and conquer, women want to build and nurture. And so like building a business for a woman is like, at least for like a feminine woman, or like some woman of femininity, is like building a family, building like something that they can nurture and grow and everything like that. For a man, it's like build, conquer, destroy, basically, right? So with that, you then can target your questions and pull on the specific emotional strings to be able to actually get the emotional conversation that you want, basically. There was a point in my life where I literally only closed women. I don't know what it was. Like, I'd have calls with sales men and women, and like, I would only be able to close women, and it was like a bit of a limiting belief for a while. But if you go to the chat hash on the call vault, there's a couple of calls there. One's with a woman called Audra. There's another one with a woman called Maria Restapona, and they closed, and they both gave me partner objections. There's probably a couple more, but off the top of my head, there'd be some good ones for you to go and watch, even if you just watch the objection handling, because it's like the last 20 minutes of the call, the last 10 minutes of the call, or whatever. So there'd be good ones for you to go and watch, man.
All right, will do. Thank you very much.
I got you, G. Mr. Isaac, hopeful romantic. What was your question, G?
Yes, sir. The other one I got was he wanted to try it himself before working with me.
Typical. I would normally say that this is like a discovery issue, to be honest, if they say they need to do it themselves. Did he say why?
Yeah, so I asked him why, and he said he wanted to prove to himself that he could do it.
Okay.
I
So
don't think that's we dug deeper. That's not the real why, but that was the surface level answer you gave at first.
Okay, what was the real reason?
It was fear.
It was fear. Yeah, it always is, right? And so you can make it like a money conversation with that, and you can be like, well, if it was free, what would you do? Would you still do it on your own? Because was it a young guy? Was it an older?
27.
Yeah, I mean, not really like young. I was thinking more like 18 to 23. But like, okay, well, you can even implement a frame, right? Actually, I think that this would work probably more with that type of like character. Was like, what means more to you, time or money? After you say like, if it was free, would you do it? Yeah. Well, what means more to you, time or money? And most people with any fucking like sense of consciousness would say time. If they say money, then obviously you challenge the fuck out of that. But like most people will say time. Why is time more important to you? You need them to sell you on it, right? Because then you can go into the challenge. You can't challenge people if you don't have, if they haven't sold you on the answers. Basically, that's what you need to understand, right? Like they need to sell you on the answers. So when you ask why, for example, like then boom, they kind of you got more buy-in. So you're leaned out, meaning that they're going to lean in basically, right? Because if you take one step back, they're going to take one step forward. It's like push and pull, magnetism type of shit. So basically, when you're in that situation, yeah, time versus money, it's like, well, why does time mean more to you? They're going to sell you on it. And then it's like, well, in what way does it make sense for you to go out there? And well, first of all, you need to do you feel like I can help you do this quicker? Do you feel like you're going to be able to do this quicker on your own? Or do you feel like you're going to be able to do this quicker with expert help, whether that's through me or someone else? Like kind of detach your program from it if you can and be like, do you feel like you're going to be able to do it quicker with professional help or quicker on your own? I don't know, man. That's what I want to do. And if they say like some bullshit like that, then it's like, well, okay, let's say that you're driving a car and you've never drove a car before. Are you going to learn how to drive a car quicker by just getting in the driving seat and putting your foot to the floor and just hoping and praying that you don't fucking crash into anyone? Or are you going to learn quicker by having a driving instructor there who's cleared hundreds of thousands of tests already? Yen's neck in the Red Bull, ready to spit some absolute.
I could have literally used that on the last one as well, because the guy said he was paying for driving lessons.
Well, like, I'm paying for driving lessons. Yeah, of course. Well, there you go, right? And it's like, all right, sick. So if that's the case, if you feel like I can get you there quicker, in what way does it then make sense for you to go away and prioritize your time over your money? Because how much money is there in the world? No one's going to know the answer to that. But like, you can even, maybe I can Google it, like how much money is there in the world? Estimating total amount of money in the world is complex, but generally agreed in the quadrillions of US dollars when considering all forms of money. It's around $125 trillion. Do you know how much money there is in the world, man? There's $125 trillion. Do you know how many zeros? How many zeros does a trillion have? A trillion has 12 zeros. So there's $1 trillion, $125 trillion in the world. Do you know how much time you've got left? None.
I like this.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, cool. So you don't know how much time you've got left. So, I mean, because it kind of gives a bit of philosophy and a bit of insight. And it also like kind of exposes their retarded fucking brain of like how shit their decision-making process is if they're really booked in time to go through this call and then say that they want to do it on their own just because they want to save some money. You know
I
what
love
I mean?
that.
How would
Yeah,
you?
no,
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
but then what if they say you've made
Bro,
me realize
one at a
I've done
time.
more things. Sorry.
One at a time.
Yeah, like what if they say they would prioritize money over time? Like, how would you reframe that?
Okay, so you'd prioritize something that has an infinite amount versus something that you've only got a limited amount of.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Or what about if they say that they only have a limited amount of money?
Yeah.
To that.
But is that the problem or is that the symptom though? Like, is that the cause or is that the problem?
It's just my situation at the time, man. At this time, man.
Yeah, sure. Well, like, what I'm asking you is not like of your situation now, because if you make decisions always based off your current situation, what will you get? Will you get a different outcome or will you get the same?
Yeah, well, I'll probably get the same, yeah.
Do you want the same outcome?
No.
Why not?
Well, because, I want to change, man. That's
Would
what
it be fair to say then that in order to change, you're going to need to start making decisions from a different perspective? Or can you continue to make decisions from the same perspective that you've got now?
Yeah, different.
Okay. And then I would just go on to basically rail the decision-making process. But if they keep saying that they, one sec, Joe. if they keep saying that they they prioritize money over time, like you can only decision making, process, objection handle them like to a certain extent. At some point, you're just gonna need to fucking come down on them and be like, do you actually hear yourself right now? Because at the end of the day, like, what would the 2.0 version of you do? You can start to bring out an identity. Like, the 2.0 version of you, would they prioritize money over time, or would they prioritize time over money? Because I don't care whether you join my program or 5 programs down the line, but this same mindset of prioritizing money over time and prioritizing something that you can go out there and literally make at the snap of your fingers if you want, is that something that's actually serving you, or is that holding you back? And as soon as you get a buy into what you're saying, that's when you know that it's closable. As soon as you get like, yeah, it's holding me back, or it's like they agree with something, or they give buy into what you're saying, and you know you can just fucking drill down on them basically. As soon as they start giving this like high ego, like smart ass answers, boom, you can literally just fucking crush them. Does that answer your question, Jens?
Yeah, in a way, but like, do you have like an analogy to use when it comes to like, yeah, to compare the two?
Sure. Okay. So you want to, I can think of one. So like you want to prioritize money over time. Okay. I mean, if you had something that was unlimited in the world versus something that was limited, what would you prioritize more?
The limited one.
Okay. So what way does it make sense for you to prioritize money over time then when money is unlimited?
Yeah.
Did you have a question, Joe, by the way? Sorry, man. I know
No,
I took
I did. No, it's fine. Going back to what Isaac said, and then Jen said something from that, and then Ned said something. What if I've got this in the past a lot. I haven't got it recently, but I feel like at some point it might kick up again. Is okay, Joe. The thing is, you've made me realize that I have so much to work on. Taking action right now would be like I would be shooting myself in the foot because I have so much to work on before I can actually take action, and that's the reason I want to try it by myself.
Yeah, with the mindset. They say something like that, revolving around the mindset. I've had that before.
It's bullshit, fam. How would you go around that?
What's the objections? Taking action is what?
So the objection is that I've made them realize, I've had a deep ass conversation with them, and I've made them realize that their limiting
Yeah.
belief or their thing that's stopping them from crossing the line was so harsh that they have the need to go back and actually fucking work on themselves before they commit to something like this.
I've actually had that a few times.
And
Like,
I haven't been able to reframe it by being like, well, how do you actually grow as a person? Is it by taking action, or is it by, going back and start doing some internal work? And then they'll still be like, yeah, I've got to do that internal work.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's 2 ways. There's 2 things that I can identify here of like, one, it's either like you're coaching them too much on the call rather than like being like, do you know what I mean? And I know Ned does this as well a lot on his calls. Like, that's not outing you, by the way, Ned. I'm not trying to like call you
I
out.
do.
Yeah, I know that Ned coaches a lot on his calls, and like I know that you've been bad for that, Joe, in the past when I've reviewed your calls, and it's like you're fucking like just telling them what it is. You're like, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, and they're like, oh fuck, because when you tell people what the problem is, you rob them of the insight. When you ask the questions, you get them to come to their own insights. That's the most powerful part. That's why it's
Yeah,
question.
that's why I also think maybe it hasn't popped up in a long time. It's because I don't tell people anymore. It's
Yeah.
only just question the question. But yeah, okay, that's an interesting insight. Sick. Appreciate that.
That's one side of it. If I genuinely feel that the call was like pucker and like everything went to plan, and I still got that bullshit at the end, because I've got it as well before, and it's not necessarily like I actually get like, I'm actually quite happy when I get that objection. I'm like, yeah, all right, motherfucker, like I did a good job type of thing. But then I also think, nah, because this is closable. It's like, well, at the end of the day, the easiest thing to do with this conversation is to do nothing and to leave it as a conversation. And what's going to show yourself that you're more committed? Walking away from this, leaving it as a conversation, knowing what we know now. Powerful phrase, like knowing what we know now, because you've just uncovered like all of this shit. Like knowing what we know now, does it like what is going to send a stronger message to yourself on your journey to plug in the motivations? You have to go hard on this in your journey to achieving X, Y, Z, 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 where you can feel X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Is it actually sending a message to yourself of like, this is the time when I'm going to take action? Or is it sending a message to yourself where it's like, okay, let me go away and think about this some more? Maybe don't plug think, because they'll probably say, I'm not going to think about this. Or leaving this call knowing that you haven't actually been the man that you want to be. Because I've had people put like $500 down payments down before, not go ahead, but then just tell me that I can keep the $500 because of how helpful the conversation was and shit like that. And I'm like, all right, sick. Appreciate that. But it's also like it's annoying because I could have got full payment out of them. Sometimes, boys, you're just gonna have to take it on the chin as well. By the way, like you won't always be able to, especially with this style. Like you're not gonna be able to always get the close. Like some people are just gonna be way too scared. Other people are gonna be like way too stuck in their ways or way too like empowered and just be like,
The only thing I have is like, let's say you say what's going to make you feel more committed to yourself, leaving the call doing nothing, or like X, Y, Z, because then they can easily just say like, oh yeah, man, like I'm not going to do nothing, man. Like I need to go. Like I just know what I need to do now. Like, and I feel like I can go do this, that.
sure. I mean, you've also been able to do that this whole time anyway. And it's like I'm not saying no one's saying that you're not going to do anything. What I'm saying is, how do you want to leave this call?
But now I know so many. I just didn't know these things. Like you've like just taught me
did.
so much.
You did know, and like appreciate your kind words. Like you did know though, because you've always known. Because would it be fair to say that the answers have always been there?
I really just think like I just think you've like guided, like asked me questions and stuff, and this call has made me think about stuff I've never thought about before.
Sure. And what's the ROI on just thinking?
That's Kurt.
It's not actually. I came up with that. But
Shut the fuck up, G.
yeah, see you later then, Ned. No worries. I actually did.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses that in his calls.
Of course he does, yeah. Like he came like what's the return on investment in just knowledge is what he came up with that, and then like I just use that on like whatever, like what's the return on investment. You can use it on anything, boys. Like once you get like understanding on what isn't serving them, like if they're just like if they don't have the knowledge, if they don't have the resources, if they don't have the money, you can plug and play the same questions in so many different areas. Like what's the return on investment in money, in not having enough money? Nothing. What's the return on investment in just getting knowledge? What's the return on investment in thinking? What's the return on investment in researching? Like you can literally take whatever. If you go and watch my sales calls, how I got really fucking good was I watched my old mentor's sales calls and I wrote down the questions that he asked. After the call finished, I would then rewrite those questions like maybe like 3 times in like 3 different formats basically, but like with the same outcome of the question, because now I've got his question, but I've rewrote it in 3 different ways in my own words. So now I can ask the question with chest, with conviction, because I'm like, oh, sick. Like I know that's my question now, and I don't feel like a fraud, basically. You know what I mean? So that's a really good way. Like that's how I got fucking sick, and I would recommend anybody to do the same, because watching sales calls is probably like the highest ROI thing that you can do to get good in a short space of time, because you actually see it live in the flesh. Because I can teach you scripts and word tracks, but when somebody just throws a curveball at you and you have to respond to it, you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? It's not the same as just following a script. Mr. Cook, question.
Let me know if you can hear the fan, by the way. I've got the heater on. But that's my question is like, when do you know when to call it quits on the call? How do you like leave the door open for them to come back?
Probably asking the wrong guy for that, bro, because I don't do that. I just burn the lead or close the lead, basically.
Weird, eh?
I'm just like, so I don't know, like I used to make them feel shit for not going ahead and like really drill down on, like, you know, when you look in the mirror at the end of the day today and you have to look at the person who hasn't taken action, and you have to go downstairs and look at your kids and be the dad who hasn't put his kids first, and you have to look at yourself and see that man in the reflection, and that's the man that you're willing to accept and leave the call, bro, because no one's gonna. But like I wouldn't recommend that, because it like you don't leave the call feeling good. You know what I mean? Especially if you got a few more calls. Like if it's your last call of the day, then fucking fine. If you're feeling like a bit raged, then like fucking just send it. Who gives a fuck? But like if it's like your first call of the day, like there's no point grilling someone and just making yourself feel like shit, because you never feel good after roasting someone like that. You know what I mean? You always just feel like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what? Alex, he's just
Zach, Jack's got a video on Instagram of him, a reel on Instagram of him with a girl. That I remember this exact situation where he basically says to her, he's like, listen, like, I'm not going to leave this call until you basically come up with, like, no, he didn't say it that way, but he was like, I'm not going to leave this call until you give me like a valid decision, or like you fucking you press that red button. And he was like, and you can press that red button, and I want you to do so. And she fucking presses it. And on the reel, Jack goes, for fuck's sake, I can't believe I'm so attached to the fucking outcome.
Yeah.
Shit,
That's fucking bad.
Yeah, like these things happen, bro. But how I would typically end the call now is just like, if you're not willing to get through your fear, then like no one else will for you, you know? And like, I don't want you to change just because I'm pushing you to do so. But I want you to know that, like, or like, let me ask you, like, the longer that you look over the edge of the cliff, does it get easier or harder to jump? It gets harder. And every time that you go to jump off the cliff and don't take the jump, are you putting more doubt in yourself or are you putting more belief in yourself? More doubt. Okay. Do you want to put more doubt in yourself? No, because the options that you've got now, and like the choice is totally yours. You can leave the call. Fuck. You can leave the call knowing that you're putting more doubt into yourself, knowing that you're putting more disbelief in yourself, or you can leave this call knowing that you've actually backed yourself, took action, regardless of how you feel. Which one do you want to do?
That makes sense, yeah. That makes sense. Did you bust out the skydiving thing? Stuart told me about the skydiving thing today.
Yeah, the skydive quiz, bro, made me so much money. And I was thinking, what I actually wanted to do on this call was run over like some different analogies and stuff and like how to reframe different behaviors. But we can do that on Friday if everybody puts their numbers in the accountability thing. So yeah, because we only got 10 minutes left, and it's definitely going to take longer than 10 minutes. So because I actually got some source, and it's also what I'm going to build out in this new fulfillment that I need to do by Friday as well. So the skydive analogy is like, you have to make it sound exciting. The thing is with analogies, you can't make them sound boring. Like, you can't make them sound boring. I know Ned has built out some pretty boring analogies before. Like when I've watched his calls, I think, fucking hell, I'm not surprised.
Mate,
But
that's such cap. Fuck, my analogy is the best, man.
Yeah, that's what somebody who makes boring analogies would say. So like basically when you build analogies out, like you have to make them sound like thrilling, exciting. You have to really capture it. Like this is where the art of like storytelling and shit comes in. It's like, have you ever been on a skydive before? Like that's the hook, right? Ever been on a skydive before? No. Well, imagine this, right? And the key word is like imagine or visualize or like picture or like get them like trigger something that like makes them think. Like imagine this, right? You're 12,000 feet in the sky, flying through the plane. You're sat on the edge of the plane and the door opens. Boom. You look over the edge. You fuck, that's high. But on the floor, the idea of the skydive sounded so exciting. But now you're 12,000 feet in the sky and it's not as exciting anymore. And so the longer that you look over the edge, contemplating how that jump is going to feel, what is that going to do to the difficulty of the jump? It's going to make it harder. Why is it going to make it harder though? Because it's going to make you think about more things that could go wrong. So you sitting here on the edge with me thinking, fuck, how is this jump going to feel? What's going to happen? Oh my God, like, is that actually helping you or is that making it harder? It's making it harder. Okay. Do you want it to be harder on yourself? You know what I mean? Like, kind of like make it a little bit jokey. Like, do you want it to be harder on yourself? Because then you can pitch this identity. And this one is like actually insane, where it's like, because you can be two types of people, right? You can be two types of people. The first person sits on the edge of the plane in this constant anxiety and fear of what life is going to be like once they take the jump, of what life could be like once they actually do it. The second person sits on the edge of the plane, straps himself to us or herself to us, and fucking sends it off the cliff or sends it off the plane. But I'm not going to push you out the plane. You have to be willing to take that jump. But I will pull the parachute and I'll make sure that you get to the floor safely. And I'll even let you scream on the way down if that's what you want. Because at the end of the day,
That's cool. That's cool. I like that.
Insane, bro.
you like that?
Stuart
Right?
actually had a good add-on to that. He said like once you land on the floor, you can like you get the thrill of the jump, and then it gets easier, and whatever you enjoy yourself, and you land on the ground, and you get that excitement that oh I've done it, I've finally done it, and then the plane lands, and all the people get out that didn't jump, and you see
Yeah.
the faces, and you realize you could have been one of them people, and now you're not, and like what does that moment mean to you?
That's
Yeah,
such
that's-
I thought that was lethal.
That's actually really good because what it does is it actually plays on the ego as well. Because it's like you don't have to be that little fucking who gets off the plane who's like, oh my God, I didn't jump. Like you're that person people look at, but how was it? How was it? And you have that feeling of pride in yourself. Like even when I think like that, I'm like, yeah, I want to be that guy.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, that's a really good add-on. And a great thing that you can do as well. I've got a close like this somewhere. I can find it. I think it's on my sales Facebook. Where it's like, well, when you jump out of that plane, how are you going to feel? Not how are you going to feel like, but like it's more like when you jump out of that plane, what's that rush going to be? It's not like a how do you feel question. It's more like, well, what's that rush going to be? And then it's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking feel it. I'm going to feel amazing, super present in the moment, just ready to rock and roll. And if you don't jump out the plane, how will you feel then? then you got two emotions attached to the outcome of their action, right? A great one that you can also do, boys, if they haven't done a skydive and they're just not going to get it because you can see like they're fat, overweight, like they clearly don't care about adrenaline, like they're just pretty boring as a person, and then they'd never even do a skydive. There's not going to be relatable to them. You can ask them like, what was the last scary thing that you did in your life? And some people will say like driving a car, for example. Like, sounds pretty boring, right? But like for some people it's super scary. And I remember driving a car for the first time. It's so fucking terrifying, you know. And it's like, well, when you got out the car or when you passed your test after all of those times of driving, like, what was that moment? Yeah, I felt fucking fantastic. How'd you stop driving after that? Just because you were scared to get in the car, knowing how much you enjoy driving now? What would be the situation? Like, how would you feel? Yeah, I'd feel fucking terrible. Well, there you go, right? Like, you've already proven to yourself that getting through fear gives you freedom, it gives you time, it gives you like everything that you want in your life. And then it's like, boom. And then you can fucking like be like, well, this is exactly the same. But if you're on the other side of this uncomfortability is the freedom, is the peace, is XYZ motivation that you've been waiting for. So my question to you, what side of that do you want? Do you want to face that version of you in the mirror who's not proud of himself? Or do you want to face that version of you in the mirror who's the fucking king, who gets through the fear, who faces it time after time after time again?
Yeah,
So
that's sick as well.
it's just a good one that you can make it where it's super relatable to someone as well, you know. I have to come up with some because I've got some absolute belters as well. Some just sick analogies where it's like, I just want to try. I think I might have used this on a couple of yous, but when I was on sales calls with yous, but like so if somebody's like, I just want to try a bunch of things before I get started, for example, or like they give you like, I want to shop around or whatever, which is like one of the hardest objections to solve. It's like, well, there's 3 cups of coffee in front of you, right? How are you going to know which one's the best coffee to drink? Someone role play with me.
Choose one.
Choose one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, by choosing one. Well, like, let's say that like there's all 3, right? Like, how are you going to know which one's the best?
I guess you won't until you try one.
Until you try them all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, let's say that there's only one. You're only allowed to try one of those 3. How are you going to know which one's the best then?
Yeah, you can't until you try it.
Does it, at that point when you can only try one, does it really matter which one's the best anyway?
Nah, because it's just random.
Would it be fair to say that the majority of the result of the coffee that you're going to drink is going to be the same? I.e., you're going to get caffeinated, you're going to have a hot drink, and like, you know, there's not really going to be a huge majority of difference regardless of which one that you drink.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I don't want to be right though, because then that means that somebody's wrong. We're not here to play right or wrong. It's more about like, what are you willing to do? Are you going to be the type of guy that takes a sip from all 3 cups? Or are you going to be the type of guy that has enough conviction in himself to pick one fucking cup of coffee and drink it?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a little bit boring, like, because it's like cups of coffee, but I'm sure there's a way that we could like brainstorm it and make it more exciting than just cups of coffee. I just haven't thought that into it yet, but it seems to slap pretty well.
To get over, would you use that same analogy then? Basically, to get over someone that was thinking about loads of different things to do. They were like, I don't know whether to get into TikTok, affiliate, like drop shipping, I don't know, Amazon FBA.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, well, how are you gonna know? Like, you can use it for like a shopping around thing. I've got a couple of other sales calls booked, or like whatever. You can use it for like, I just don't know what to do, I don't know what to try. And then it's like, all right, Jesse, in a bit, G. And yeah, it's like you can use it for a lot of different things, man. Yeah, then if that answers your question.
The
Yeah.
rainforest one you used to me was good.
The rainforest one.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Like, he said, like, because I mentioned that I was scared to like put the money in. Like, I was scared, like, it was a lot of money to just give up at once. And then I was like, I'm not sure if it's going to be for me or not. And then you said, like, well, picture this, like, you've got this like big rain cloud of doubt falling and it's dripping on the ground. And every time a droplet of water hits the ground, it's fertilizing the seeds. And then they grow up to be these big, tall, like, trees that are blocking out the sunlight. And then you said, like, but you see this little glimmer, you see this little light in the distance, and you see another one, you see another one. It's like, which one do you follow? Like, which one do you choose? You don't know. You just got to pick one and run at it. Like, that's basically what he said.
Yeah, mate, that's fucking sick. Sometimes I need to log these ones because I just make a lot of them up on the spot and then I just forget about them and they're just like in the back of my mind for like when I need them the most. So I'm gonna actually sit down. I'm gonna put a deep work block of 2 hours in on Friday morning to just think about analogies and literally brainstorm the fuck out of them for you.
That 3 cups of coffee, could you do it based on like I don't know, like houses or holidays or something that excites people, of like choosing whether you want to go to something like that. Coffee's so boring, man. Like, I don't think people really care that much about which coffee it is. I wouldn't really get me engaged in it at the start.
Yeah, I mean, like you can do it for something cool like motorbikes. Like, you can be like, well, do you like motorbikes? Yeah. Okay. Or like, I don't know. Like, you just have to think about like, what do you like that's scary? I don't know. Like, Ned, role play with me. Like, give me something like random that like you might experience, like, and I'll see if I can make it work. Like,
Yeah, motorbikes, man. I'm well interested in motorbikes. Ridden one motorbike, but that's it so far.
well, like, let's say that you got a ZX6R, a Yamaha R6, and a fucking Gixxer in front of you. How are you gonna know which one's your favorite one to ride?
Yeah, I don't really know any of them that well, so I guess I'll just try them. Try one.
Okay, and like, let's say that you can only then pick one, and that has to be the bike that you have for the rest of your life. How are you gonna pick? How are you gonna know which one's the right one?
Maybe I'd have to try all of them.
But you can't. You can only pick one.
Well, I've got no choice. I just have to try the one that looks best.
It's always the Yamaha. It's definitely not. Well, yeah, like if you always base it on looks, though, are you always gonna know? Are you gonna know which one's actually like the best and the one that's actually built for you?
No.
Because when you're flying down the road at 260 kilometers an hour and you're tucked in and all you hear is ba 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 because you're hitting the limiter and you're fucking just like rushing, are you really gonna care what the make of the bike is?
Yeah, because I want to know that I'm on a bike that is like.
Well, you
Like-
know that they're all safe bikes because they're the best bikes in that range.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess no. Then it doesn't really matter which bike I'm on.
Sure. And so like the reason I say that is because it doesn't really matter what business model you're in. It doesn't really matter what vehicle that you have. Would it then be fair to say that it's actually just about the speed that you're willing to drive rather than the specific vehicle that you have?
Yeah, but surely the different vehicles go at different speeds.
Not when they're in that range of engine. You might talk like a few kilometers either side.
Yeah, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just about like how well I can drive it.
Sure. And so like, how are you going to know? Because you're never really going to know which one you drive the best until you just fucking get on the bike and just fucking put your foot to the floor or open the throttle up, right? Because I don't know, it kind of makes it complicated the more like dangerous you make it. I don't
More
really know.
The more detailed it is, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it complicated. The coffee one's boring, but I like coffee, so like I'm happy to talk about it. I think it just comes from how you say it. It's clicked for a few people when I've said it. But yeah, boys, that's pretty much everything for today. I want to see your biggest takeaways. Ned, you never put them in there, so I actually want to see specifically Ned's biggest takeaways in the
Well,
Discord.
I put them in all the last calls that I've been on, but I haven't been on many because I keep having sales calls at the same time.
Yeah, you said that you were going to watch the last one and then send me your biggest takeaways, and you didn't do that. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah.
Oh,
So don't give me that bullshit. But yeah, it's not just out in there. That goes for all of you, by the way. I want to see all of your fucking takeaways in there, or you're going to be banned from next week's call. So there you
Yeah.
go. There you have it. That's the standard that I'll hold you to. I'm going to screenshot this screen right here, and whoever hasn't done it, you're not being let into next week's call, and I fucking mean that. So put them in straight away. Alex includes you, even though you haven't got your camera on. All right. So biggest takeaways, questions, concerns, hit me up, and any problems along the way, obviously give me a shout. If everybody can, the people who are on offers and stuff at the moment, or who are running the biz, fill in your numbers on the accountability thing by Friday, please, because I want to run over some interesting shit. All right, boys. See you Friday.